and welcome back to Celebrity with Nene. Today's episode, we're going to be covering The Real Housewives, season 6, episode 5. Okay. And today I have with me Johnny and Reese. They're my crew today. If you want to join the crew and become one of our crew members, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. All righty. So I guess we can go ahead and just jump right on into the episode. All right. So this episode, it starts off with Ashley. So Ashley has had a new baby, baby Dylan. He's a little cutie pie. And
He
so
is.
hmm it's crazy how him and Dean, they don't look anything alike. Dean looks just like his dad, but
Hmm.
I'm not sure who Dylan looks like right now. Maybe more so Ashley, maybe. Um, and so they showed some little family time that they were having. They showed Michael playing on the couch with both boys. I thought was sweet and innocent. Um, yeah. So what did you guys think of this scene?
Think of who?
Of this scene?
Oh, it was cool. I did find it funny though how what's baby Dean
Uh, uh-huh.
how he did I'm sorry run and cry when Karen was there, and he
Yeah.
didn't cry at Giselle.
You know, he's not old enough for her to hate on him yet, but it's coming.
Whatever.
It's coming. She's gonna be talking
No,
trash about
he
him.
feels spirits. He feels spirits. Giselle's spirit must not be that bad. Not the way
Oh,
Karen's
it's
is.
she's like one notch up from where the devil is.
That is too funny.
All right, and so the next scene is Mia and her family. They're at a park having a picnic with the kids, her and her husband. And so Mia, she asked her son, does he feel like she works too much? And he said yes. And then her and her husband also had a discussion about her mom. So apparently she invited her mom to come along with them, but the mom didn't come. And you could tell it bothered her because she also mentioned that her mom only lives 20 minutes away from where they were. So she could, it shouldn't have been a hard thing for her to show up for this. So, but I like that scene and like just listening to her and G interact and talk, I can see why she likes G, or why she would have chosen G. Um, he seems like a man who has, his head on his shoulders, and he was giving her some good advice, and he was also making pointing out good things to her too, about her situation with her mom. Did y'all have any thoughts about that scene?
It was super cute, and I loved when the daughter ran over and tried to put the umbrella in the ground. I was
Yes.
like, how cute was that? Like that
Uh,
scene melted my heart. So between the baby and between that, I was like, oh my gosh, like this show's it's making me happy today.
Yeah, it's nice seeing them in their element, being moms
hmm
and not with all the foolishness. So
Yeah.
really just
Right.
living their life.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So then the next thing that we had was Candace, and she's packing for the trip to Williamsburg. And so her and Chris, they're having a discussion, and what did y'all think about that? I wonder, is that their master bedroom looking like that?
You can tell they just moved in. It looks
But
like
that was a junky mess. That's more than just moved in. I was like, is that her closet or maybe her guest room or something? That I would not have allowed it to be in.
I don't know. I think it was just I was kind of happy, like, oh, they move like we do, because we stuff our clothes in plastic bags. So I was kind of cool with it. I didn't see anything wrong with it. Normal living. But yeah, it
Zombie living.
basically just looks like they still moving in, like they haven't really settled yet. And based on what you showed us before, well, with the clips that they give us, who knows how long she's been packing for Williamsburg.
Yeah, and there's no telling because she had a lot of stuff taken out with her.
Yeah.
And so that was interesting. Chris did ask her if, because this trip, let me make that clear. This trip is a trip that Candace has planned for the girls. And so Chris did ask her, okay, did you invite Ashley? She's like, oh, I forgot. So he does tell her that she should extend an olive branch to Ashley. Just give her a call. And, she says that she's going to do it. Um, And so the next couple of scenes is just like the girls packing. So we see them, packing up their things. Like Giselle was with her girls as she was packing. I thought it was funny. She held up a swimsuit, and they were like, "You can't even swim." And she's like, "Yes, I can." Like, here we go. You can't be honest about anything, huh, girl? Yeah. And so Giselle goes and she pays a visit to Ashley since Ashley's had the baby. So she goes over there to go and see her and she brings her some Corona. Because we all know how much Ashley loves her Corona.
Yeah.
And so they're sitting down and they're talking and they're exchanging, talking about their labor stories and what, they were going through, some of the things that they went through. And so Giselle has decided to bring some bones with her to this little meetup. And so at this meetup, she tells Ashley about the rumors about Wendy's husband. And so it was odd to see Ashley. It didn't seem like she was jumping on board for this gossip. She was just kind of, being a little defensive because Giselle also said that she believes this is why Wendy has had this new boob job and the booty job because her husband is cheating on her. But actually, she seemed a little disinterested in it a little bit, which is different for her because usually she's all about it. She's ready to snatch the bone out of whoever's mouth that brought it. And so yeah, so they have that scene, and then they discuss like very intimate things that happen to you when you have a baby. I don't know if I really want to say what it was. And so Giselle said it happened to her. And one of the cameramen or one of the producers was being shady. I don't know if y'all caught this, but when she was in her confessional, the cameraman or the producer said, "Oh, is that the reason why Jamal left you?"
Oh, I didn't hear that.
Yeah,
Yeah, which
he
I
did.
was like, that's shady. That was real shady,
Yeah, it
real.
was.
Um, yeah, absolutely. So the next thing, so the women all gather, and I guess they all dribble there. How about now?
Yeah.
Okay. And so they all go over to what looks like Candace's house and they meet up for the trip. Okay. So they all get on like the sprinter and
Party bus.
I know. I really want to do that one. I want that on my bucket list for us to be able
yeah,
to just go on a nice little trip somewhere. That looked really cool.
yeah, it did look cool. So they all got on the bus. When Karen got on, she did not speak to Giselle. And Giselle was frowning up her face. And I'm like, girl, stop that. Because you know you already wrinkling. You're going to get some more wrinkles. You keep doing that.
You said Giselle?
Yeah. and so and so they start, having a little fun on the bus. There's a stripper pole on the bus. So the ladies, they all take a turn on the stripper pole. And so that was interesting to see because the majority of them were pretty stiff. I was like, y'all are stiff and this is strange. What am I watching? And so Mia gets up and she gets onto the stripper pole. And I'm not going to say that Mia just did this wild out job, but she did better than the other ladies. But at one point, she did scare me because it was like she spun around that pole and I felt like her heels were gonna hit one of the, a couple of ladies in the face. So I was a little bit worried about that. So I was like, if you were a stripper before, you should know your, what is it? Is it the range of motion that I'm thinking of, where you're not about to hit people, or knock
Right.
somebody out? Um, and so, like I said, all of the ladies got up there and they did their thing. Hmm. Oh, let's talk about these outfits. Okay, so when we come on, but her outfit, it was too young for her. That's what I'm gonna say. I'm not gonna say, you know, I mean, if it was on a younger girl, it looked like something that, maybe one of her students would have went and bought and wore. I don't know. What I see you frowning, Johnny. What's going on? What were your thoughts on the outfit and the poll?
I, no words.
No
I thought her
worries.
outfit, I'm just one of those people that feel like once you hit a certain milestone of age, you should dress a certain way and you can still be sexy and dress sexy at 40 without showing stuff like that. When you're in your 20s and you're showing yourself like that, you don't really know how to be sexy without showing skin. Maybe I'm saying it like that. But
Mhm.
I definitely would not have worn. No, I don't understand this whole body thing she's doing. And they even showed how she used to look last year. She always wore her nice dresses. I mean, she still looked very nice last year. So I don't understand how the wardrobe just changes like that.
Yeah, I'm almost feeling like her wardrobe is changing because she's changed her body. And so maybe when she was younger, she didn't have the confidence to pull it off. And now it's like, well, I got the body now, so I can pull this off. I don't know where it's coming from. But yeah, all of a sudden she's doing it.
I mean, to each his own. I wouldn't wear anything like that. And I don't think it's cute.
Mhm.
You're a mom of three. And again, you can still be sexy
Yeah,
without looking like
absolutely.
that. She could have wore a whole bodysuit and still
Yeah,
looked good
Yeah.
instead of it being all the way up to her boobs practically. Like it's just too much. And that was one of the comments that Giselle was saying, like, she just shows too much skin now. And she doesn't understand where all that came from because she was very covered and still sexy in the beginning. And now she's just, I'm going to show my butt and my boobs as much as I can now. And even like when she was talking about when she was doing the situation with her schooling, and she was talking about how she had to make sure she dressed a certain way, but she didn't really want to. She wanted to dress like her students. And I was like, but you can't. You're a professor. You
yeah,
shouldn't. I mean, I know we're coming into this world of women can dress and be and do whatever they want without being judged, but we're not there yet. And I just don't think you could learn a lot from a professor who dresses like you.
yeah. Because like you said, things have changed, but in the business world, they haven't changed as much. We just got to the point where we can wear dresses without pantyhose. So like, just let it come and let it come naturally. But you still got to realize that in, out here in the professional world, you just can't do certain things. So I think.
Yeah.
So
And
what
I
did you
felt
think?
so bad for her on that poll because she definitely did the worst.
She did terrible,
I was like,
terrible.
what is
I
that?
didn't know what was worse, Wendy on the pole or Robin's braids. I don't know which one was
Oh,
worse.
you didn't like Robin's braids?
No, her braids look terrible. I
Do
didn't even
they
think
look terrible, Reese?
I ain't a fan of. I thought Wendy's braids looked better, but
Wendy's braids did nice, but Robin's braids, I was like,
maybe it's the
Is
color.
it
I know
blonde?
her hair is blonde, but I don't know. Something about the
it
color or
was
something
bad.
weird.
Something
Is
was
it the
different.
color? Too
Might
bright
be the
for
color.
her?
I want to say the way they were sitting up from her scalp, it was like they were sitting up too high or something.
I have to look at that.
Yeah, I wouldn't have fair, but I did. I would say I agree with y'all with the outfit with Wendy because that, you know what I'm saying? Like, somebody, one of them said it. They were like, she didn't have to come and look like she was shopping at Forever 21.
Yes, that was
And I'm
Giselle.
like, yeah, because I was like, that's the truth though. Like, you don't need to come in looking like a teenager to look
No.
good. And then that pole performance, if you're gonna wear that outfit, be cute, girl. Be
Yeah, you
good on
should
that
not
pole.
work
'Cause
pole wearing
you
that.
dressing, yeah, you dressing young. You gotta get out there and show 'em out. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a reason I'm dressing like this, but nah.
Right. And then
Shoot,
I
I
gotta
almost think what's her name did better. Karen did better, so I'm like, that's better.
yeah. So who did you think did the best on the poll?
Mia.
Mia,
Yeah, she did good. But something else I liked about hers was she wasn't overly stripperish with it. She was more
she
seductive with her
kind of
dance.
was when she bent over. I think she was kind of shaking it a little
She
bit.
You could tell with that, and I don't know how many of you guys have done like pole dancing classes.
Hmm.
That was straight pole dancing class, what she did. Because
Yeah,
even like in a pole dancing class, you have a moment where you kind of twerk or you do something.
yeah.
To me, it reminded me of that. So it didn't really remind me of
Okay.
somebody who worked at a strip club and was on the pole working dollars. She
Yeah.
Okay.
totally did it more. I even think Karen said it. It looked like art, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And that would also explain why she was spinning and her looked like she was about to knock somebody out because she doesn't really have control of her body like that. She was just doing what she saw in class. That would make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely would. Okay. And then I got disgusted. Thank God I wasn't eating because I would have thrown up.
For what?
So
For what?
when I think it was Candace was like, "Oh, you and Juan should have a baby," and she was like, "Well, I did let him keep it in." I'm like, "Girl, you are like almost 50. Why are you talking like this on this bus?"
She is
Wait.
not almost
Wow.
50.
She's 40 something. So
She
there,
just hit
we're close to
40.
50.
She's like 40, 41.
I feel like always trying to save somebody's age.
Hey, but
Have
I'll
to
give it
save
to
my
Wendy
age.
at that point. Wendy was
Huh?
getting it then. When Wendy heard that, boy, she was getting it. Wendy got down and was twerking it. I was like, now you dancing your clothes, eh?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, when she did that performance, you kind of thought she'd be better on the pole.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I can't remember which one was first, but it was just
Yeah. Either
I
way,
thought I was like, "Oh, yeah, she's dancing like her clothes."
exactly. She really was. I'm like trying to show him out, and then she kept going. I was like, "Wait, you going for too long too now? So calm down."
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
it was
I
I
think it was
saw.
like I'm not getting enough. Y'all aren't hooping me on enough. Y'all aren't, you're not encouraging me enough. Let me keep going until you say stop.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'd have been like,
yeah.
girl.
So I don't know. I didn't really like that conversation. I felt like she could
Kept
have
that.
said it differently. Yeah, or if you wanted to say that, it could have been differently. And then was it Giselle talking about, "Oh, he shot up the club"? What are you talking about? You
No,
know
that was
too.
Candace.
Oh yeah, Candace said it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it
What
was
you
Candace. She
about?
was like,
That's what told
Juan
Wendy.
shot up the club.
Yeah.
I'm like, certain conversations that kind of irritate me with the girls is that they say things on camera that I feel like they really shouldn't be saying. And then if somebody repeats it or says something or makes mention to it, then they want to act butthurt about it. But it's like, why are you talking like that in front of
Yeah.
the cameras
It's
where
Yeah.
we
too
all see it?
much. Even like
Yeah,
with Giselle and Ashley's conversation, to me, that's a conversation off camera. I don't think
right,
I'd want the world knowing all of that.
right.
You know, I mean,
Hmm.
the world knows that now. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
you'll forever be looking at them weird, like,
Wait a minute. Look over there. Look. Comment.
huh?
Oh, we got a comment. What do we got here? Oh, Yolanda is here. So
Hey, Yolanda.
why was Wendy so excited for Robin trying to have a baby?
There
I
y'all
think
go
that's
again. There y'all go again. There y'all
okay,
go. There
because
y'all
we
two
all
go.
know that was probably her once a month with Juan. And so it was exciting to know she got her once a month, dip.
Nah, but she got that flag and that rainbow. We know what she's saying.
Yeah,
There
she's
y'all
trying
go.
to be. She is. She
There
totally
y'all
tried to
go.
say they were flirting.
Tell Yolanda if you want to join us, I can drop the link for you to come and join us if you like. But we understand if you don't want to, but just in case you do, I dropped the link and you can come and join us for tonight and talk about tonight's episode with us. But yeah, so we were talking about the bus. So let's go back. I jumped over a scene. So, um, oh my God, what was my scene? I just had it in my head. I'm sorry, guys. But the scene was oh, Mia, Giselle, and Robin, they meet up and they have a dinner or drinks or whatever you want to call that. Looked like they were like at a lounge and they got some food and got some drinks.
Hmm.
So it was a nice scene. Mia showed up last. She walks in, she's got this fur coat on and a ball gown. And I think it was Giselle that was like, "Oh, I wonder
Hmm.
if that's a gal she was stripping in." I'm like, "Yo,
Was it Giselle or Rob? I think it was
it was
Giselle
one of the
or
two of
Rob.
them. I'm not sure." But I was like, "Yo, let her get in good before y'all start dropping A." And so they all sit down and they actually end up having a nice conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And oh, forgot about this part. So when Giselle was with Ashley, she had said to Ashley that she was looking forward to going out with Mia because she wants to know how Mia got from Annapolis to a stripper pole. And she was like, she just wants to know so she can tell her daughters how not to do it. And I'm
Mm.
like, girl, you are living in la la land. Just give your kids your life story. That's how you stop all that, honey. Like, I mean, yes,
Mhm.
at some point she was on a stripper pole, but right now she's not, and she's doing well for herself.
Yeah.
Well,
So
I
I
think
didn't.
that's all about like stop judging a book by its cover. Like you
Yeah.
don't
Right.
know this woman's story.
Mhm.
And of course, when they were sitting there at the table, you have to give Giselle her props because she did, you know, she was like she is a bad bitch. You know what I'm saying?
You
To
know
know where
what?
she came from and
Yeah,
what
I
she's been
actually
through.
like that part. And it was like Giselle knew she had to eat her words and eat
Hmm.
all the
Mhm.
things that she said about her. And you could tell that the look on her face was like, oh wow, I didn't know this.
She did
Yeah.
it.
But that's why you need to get to know somebody before you start throwing shade and talking trash about them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean,
So
I can appreciate her when she said all of that. I was like, all right, Giselle, is that
Yeah.
gross? I think that was a little
no,
gross.
no. Well,
Mhm.
she got on the bus acting shady.
She didn't act shady towards Mia though. They had a good to her, they had a good meeting. And I think
Yeah.
she and Robin did. I was kind of nervous for Mia
Mhm.
to be telling them that stuff about her
Hmm.
mother. Cause I
Yeah.
was like, please don't come in the comments being shady. I mean, she's grown up in foster care. Her
Mhm.
story is a tough story, and it
Right.
is one of those true rags to riches where you're in the streets. You're fighting for your survival. It didn't sound
Hmm.
like her foster care life was great.
Mm-mm.
Right.
She made it out, and now she owns
Yeah.
15 companies, 14 companies. She's doing her thing, and I think that's pretty awesome. That
Right.
those are the kind of stories you want out there, not
Yeah.
the stories
Exactly.
where they're in foster care, then they turn to drugs, then they're doing this, they're doing that. You
Right.
want the positive spins because sometimes you can make a bad situation into a really good life. You
Right.
can't
You
always
can.
make your circumstance be your reason. you
Yeah.
know
Right.
I'm a drug addict because I was in the foster system. That was 20
Yeah.
years ago.
Yeah.
I do this because of that. That was 30 years ago. Like at some point, turn it into something that can actually build you into a better place. Because we've
Yeah.
all had struggles, you know.
Right.
There's things I've been
Exactly.
through that other people haven't been through. There's things you guys been through that other people haven't been through. Not all of us
Mhm.
have
We don't
great.
Perfect.
all have the same walking life.
Exactly.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I did. I appreciated that scene, and then we learned a lot. Like Mia had revealed that her dad was on drugs, and that he died of AIDS. And so Robin brought up something that I didn't know as well. I knew that Juan's parents had died when he was young,
Mhm.
but to know they were on drugs and that they died of AIDS too. You could see that her and Mia, they had a little bonding moment, if that's what you want to call it. But
Yeah.
yeah, so okay,
Yeah.
so you like this. I'm glad Giselle and Robin are trying to get to know Mia more.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think, like I said, I think after that meeting, I mean, obviously, any shade that's thrown that way is kind of, I think, out of bad taste. I'm not saying you can't talk about somebody who's had a struggle in life, but you can't.
Mhm.
Obviously,
Judge so
your
harshly.
daughters aren't going to fall into that life because they're not in the foster care system. So you
Yeah.
Yeah.
can't, you know, I know she can't take back what she said prior to knowing her, but I did appreciate her, just kind of being like, wow, I had no idea, I have to give
Mhm.
it to her. And when she said that, I was like, good job,
Yeah. Well, the
Giselle.
only thing is, I was looking for an apology for her to apologize to Mia for some of the things that she said, but I know that wasn't enough.
No, I mean, why?
I mean,
I think in the sense of why, in the sense that Mia hasn't heard it yet. Maybe at the reunion she'll
I
apologize
mean,
for what she
I
said.
I've said to people like, you know what? I just, had the wrong idea about you, and I'm so sorry. I'm so glad I've talked to you and I've got to know you, and now I know that things are different than what I imagined.
I
But
don't.
that's me. That's just
Yeah,
me. I'm not saying
Mhm.
that ain't
everybody
me.
has to be that way, but you know,
That is
that's not
not
me.
me. I judge,
Hmm.
and I judge hard. And even once I get to know you, I'll be like, oh, okay, you're not what I thought. And keep moving.
Yeah.
I mean, knowing that she said certain things off camera, it seemed like that might have weighed too, where she'd be like, okay, let me put this apology out there. Okay,
Yeah.
so since we did jump backwards, so they also showed Wendy and her husband having a conversation. Well, first, Wendy was in her office and she was trying to put together stuff for her classes, and her kids was running around playing, which I didn't understand why her husband was letting them play so close to Wendy's office when he knew what she was doing. That did strike me as odd. And so when Wendy comes out, he starts having a serious conversation with Wendy, in which I can appreciate the conversation because you always want your spouse to communicate with you. But I felt like Wendy wasn't really appreciative of the conversation he was having with her because he was asking her questions to a lot of things that she just didn't know or she had not done. And
Mhm.
she kept saying, "Give me a break." And I saw her a couple times moving her hands. I'm like, "Don't act like you're ready to pop off," because he's not even doing anything to warrant you
Mhm.
popping off like this. Hear him out. He's actually talking to you, about his concerns and what you should be doing, and he's doing it in a nice way. Um,
Right.
like he had told her, she's gonna need more than a couple of candles, which it is. Of course you are. And he was asking her basically, how is she planning on funding this? Is she going to be funding this with her own money? And she's like, no, I'm going to use your money. And he's like, no. I think he said something like, my bank or my pockets are closed or have been closed.
Mhm.
Been
We know he
closed.
hasn't been helping her out with those candles. And but I guess she just had it stuck in her mind she was going to be able to convince him to help her out with those candles.
Mhm.
And yeah, so of course, um, so that scene right there, I was kind of bothered with the way Wendy was behaving and reacting to her husband. What did y'all think about that?
Yeah, I mean, to me, the way she was responding, it's like listen to what he's saying, but it wasn't like some of it was the first time. Like, Karen had said some of that same stuff, like you got a business
Right,
plan, how you gonna fund it. She's sitting there looking at him like she's still like he dumb, and this is the first time she's ever heard any of this. And I'm like, dude, you just had this
right.
conversation with Karen, so we know you understand that some what he's saying is actually true because it came from another business person as well. But I
Hmm.
guess she just maybe it's just harder to hear it from him versus somebody else that she doesn't know or whatever. Maybe she feel like he's judging her hard. But I mean, he said some stuff that to me is common sense. Like you got to trademark your name. That's common sense because if you don't get it, somebody else gets in trademark it. You can't have it. So I mean, what he was saying was realistic. So even if
Yeah,
he had been harsher with it, he still was telling her the truth. Like you want to do this, but what have you done other than made a candle and put a name on it?
yeah.
Right.
And to piggyback off of what you said, part of what disturbed me about it was I was like, okay, so you went and talked to Karen and you just didn't take any of her advice
Yeah.
away from the conversation, and now
Mhm.
you're acting to him like everything was brand new, like what you just said.
Hmm.
So, what was your thoughts on that scene, Johnny?
Yeah, I guess I kind of think about like as a couple, if I start telling you I'm into a business or I'm going to do this as a business, wouldn't that stuff have come up before? Like you waited till I invested money and did all this to tell me all of this other stuff. And I get what you're saying as far as Karen goes, but it was almost in the sense like they really hadn't talked about it. Like she just did it and now she's coming to him about it later and then he's trying to give her advice on it. So it almost seems like I couldn't tell, had she just moved on and did it on her own and never really talked to him about it,
I
or
think, and I think it's a mixture of both. Because you remember when she was showing it to her family, he was looking annoyed, but it didn't look like annoyed, like, oh my gosh, I didn't know anything about this. So I think maybe he knew. He may have even said more things to her, and that's why she's like, oh, I feel like you're just nagging me or whatever it was she had said, because he has kind of said something to her. Yeah. So Yolanda says, why didn't Wendy ask her husband for business advice? Isn't he a lawyer? Well, not all lawyers are like business or corporate lawyers. So maybe that's why she didn't. But she definitely needs some help, So, and she says, why didn't Dr.
Dr.
Wendy
Wendy?
research herself or read Business for Dummies 101 or something? I
True.
mean, that's
Yeah,
what she
true
should have
that.
done.
She should
She,
have. I think,
yeah,
I'm looking to maybe possibly do a little bit of a business with my cupcakes or whatever. And and it's a small, like small. I'm not trying to do a storefront or anything like that, but just trying to figure out the name, trying to figure out what I need to get because it's considered a cottage business in Georgia. But those are the things that I'm already looking into to decide if that's
Mhm.
really what I want to do.
Right. Right.
So, and I'm not a
And
doctor.
yeah, and if you're going to take it up on your own, then when you go to people like Karen or whoever you go to, you need help and you need to listen to what these people are advice they're giving you. I'm not saying you got to follow it to the T, but at least listen
Mhm.
to what you got to say, you know.
Yeah,
So
but why
I just
spend all that money? Like I
yeah,
don't
why did
think
she do that
she
up
spent a
front?
whole lot of money on something that
Well,
somebody
well,
could steal. Like
yeah.
if she hasn't trademarked her name now, somebody could
Hmm.
easily go and trademark her name and now she can't even
Yeah.
use it
Mhm.
anymore.
And she's put it out there what her name is. So yeah,
Yeah.
they could easily go and steal that from her. Absolutely. So I don't know. That was just
Hopefully, since he said this and this all happened before the show aired, hopefully she did go fix
I hope
that.
so. Yeah, I
yeah,
hope
yeah.
so.
Even
Otherwise,
that's money though.
that
So
would have even been awesome, or I'm sorry, more awesome. However you want to say it. Mia when she did her candlelight, if she named it after that would have been very good.
Yeah, that would have been. That would have been. All right, so we're
mhm.
gonna jump back to the bus a little bit. So while they're on the bus, Candace lets them know that there's what 4 bedrooms in the main house, and then there's a guest house that has 3 bedrooms. So in the main house, she has herself, um, the Green Eyed Bandits, and Mia. And then in the guest house, it's gonna be Wendy, Karen, and I want to be so mean and mess up that girl's name, Ascala. She's gonna be in the guest house, which I thought was interesting because Wendy came on as Karen's friend. So I was like, okay, what's going on here with this
Yeah, and
Who
then
situation?
Skylar is Robin's friend, ain't it?
Hmm. She
came on
is.
as Karen's friend? What are you talking about?
Mia.
When no, Wendy came on. Oh, Wendy came. I'm sorry, Mia came on as Karen's friend, and that split took place. And then Candace brought Wendy, and then she didn't even have Wendy in the house with her, which I was like, I wonder what's going on between Wendy and Candace now. Is Candace feeling some type of way? And so on the bus, they also asked Candace if she had invited Ashley. And she was like, no, I forgot. And I'm like, y'all in these lies. Your husband just asked you to call that girl. And
Mhm.
so then Giselle was like, oh, I invited her. She's coming up for a day. Now, granted, I feel like Candace, this is like a group trip. Even if y'all are not friends, this is a group trip for y'all show. Y'all are like co-stars or whatever, and then they have to go on so many trips anyway. Why not just invite the girl? Like, why be petty? But I didn't necessarily agree with Giselle inviting her on a trip that she wasn't invited to. I didn't necessarily agree with that either. But and so Ashley did agree that she was going to come. Maybe she'll be in the next episode. And so they get to the house and they're in the main house. And so the girls that are going to stay in the main house, they start looking for their rooms. Well, Giselle goes off to go fix a plate of food. And so it was Mia, Robin, and Mia, Robin, and Candace. They go upstairs and they go pick out their rooms. And so, yeah, I thought it was cool that they were staying at an estate where Obama had stayed. I did think that was cool.
Mhm.
It's a
Um,
beautiful house.
it
Yeah, it
was
is.
very beautiful house. Very, very beautiful house. And so they all come downstairs and they fix some food, start fixing plates and stuff. And so while they're eating, Karen, no, I need to just say the Green Eyed Bandits so I don't mess up any names. So the Green Eyed Bandits, they decide that there's 3 bedrooms upstairs and 1 bedroom downstairs. They decide that Mia needs to take the bedroom downstairs, right? So I
Mhm.
wonder if my friend Yolanda is gonna was thinking the same thing I was thinking. So Mia, she actually took it very gracefully.
She
They were
probably
all, in
is.
all honesty, they were all beautiful rooms.
They
So
were.
you have to, I would say
So
it would be more,
I didn't understand why they needed to switch because, like you said, the rooms are beautiful. I mean, it wasn't like she was going to a smaller room or a room that wasn't as pretty. So I don't understand why y'all couldn't just leave the room arranged where it was.
Mm.
And I just didn't. I also didn't care for that Candace didn't stand up and say, wait a minute, y'all." Especially as I was like, "Y'all, we're not kicking people out of the room. If she wants to switch rooms, that's cool, but we're not going to force somebody into a different room."
Well, in Candace's defense, she told Mia if she wanted that room, she needed to go ahead and get her stuff and put it in there. And Mia didn't. So it's
Well,
still
that's
kind
the
of like
thing.
it was a
Oh,
fair game.
I don't. I, well, if it was fair game, why would they ask? I knew it. Yes, Yolanda. Of course, Robert and Giselle wanted to share rooms. But
They're
Lord
not
that's
have
sharing
mercy.
rooms. They're just
Stop
getting
it.
rooms
oh,
upstairs.
oh, oh, they're gonna end up sharing rooms, and they didn't want nobody up there hearing. And then they got a whole situation like Atlanta, people standing outside of rooms with their ears with cuts all up to the doors. They didn't want that, so
No,
they
because the
decided to
last
keep
person
their
they'd want to hear is Candace. Candace is just about as messy as all of them. So the last person they'd want to hear them sharing a room is Candace.
or or maybe they had some plans for Candace too. I don't know. I,
Uh,
I don't
Oh
know.
gosh.
So
You know, but
I
I'm just saying. So
I
I
see it as them two are like, I guess, best
uh,
friends,
Mhm.
and they just want to be in the same floor, which makes sense because if it was my best friend, I would want her to be on the same floor as me too.
or if it's your best
However,
friend, y'all can share rooms. I mean, that's probably what I would have offered. Like Johnny's like, hey, you want to come up here and stay in my room too? His bed
not
is
if
bigger.
there's enough rooms, like you want to have your own space,
I mean,
but
because I think at the end of the day, if we so chose to crash in the same room, we would, but we would
yeah,
still be upstairs together. So I would think it would be one of those things where,
you just want
yeah,
them close by.
it is what it is. I mean, I think Mia should be honored. She's in the main house
Yeah,
because she could have given it to a Scala, or I'm sorry, I'm saying her name wrong, but she could have given it to her.
Oh, you talking
And
about Escalade?
yeah, Escalade, yeah, she could have given it to her, which is odd that she was invited on their trip, but she could have gave it to her. I knew she wasn't going to give it to Karen or Wendy. I think Karen and Wendy, because of how close they've really oddly gotten, I don't think she trusted that. That's why they weren't offered the room in the main room. So
And then what I don't understand is how did Escobar get invited on this trip?
yeah,
And she's
I
just a
didn't
friend of
know
the
that.
show,
I didn't.
but
I
Ashley didn't get invited.
Oh well, you already know why Ashley wasn't invited.
Well,
I
yeah, I
mean,
know that's why. But it's like, lady Joe, just get
yeah, I
things that
mean, we
don't seem
already
like
know
they're
why
being
Ashley was
presented.
invited. Now, the difference between me and Candace is I would just tell you she ain't invited. Like plain and simple. Because one of the things I did, like I told you, I'd be watching the first season. One of the things I've learned from their etiquette rules of their first season is they have to pay for everything. So, like, if they invite the group, it's anticipated that they pay for everything. I'm not going to pay for somebody I don't care for. I'm not going to, because I don't ask you for the money back. I don't know how much Bravo pays back. They didn't go into all of that in the first season, but it was stated that when they host events, they pay for these events. Like they pay for these trips and they pay for the people to come. So no, I wouldn't be inviting anyone. But I don't know why she keeps making it seem like
she
she
forgot.
forgot. I really would just be honest with it. I'm not ready to forgive her. I don't want her in my space. So she's not invited
Yeah,
and be done with
because
it.
and something else I was thinking about too, because we saw Chris. He, was the husband and brought out all of Candace's luggage, all 15 bags, out to the bus, and oh, okay, here we got it. Yolanda. She says, "I would not have given up my room. Mia better than me. Oh, she's better than me too. I wouldn't have gave it
Yeah,
up
I wouldn't have gave it up either.
at all."
Out of spite, even if I know, like, I know y'all two best friends, y'all want to be in the same beside each other. I'm grown, I don't really care. Nope, out of spite, I say, nah, I picked that room, should have went up.
You're like, look, y'all can go get a hotel room together.
Yeah.
Y'all not kicking me out this room.
Nah, I would say share a room then. I guess we all upstairs.
Well, I think Mia went ahead and was like, you know what? I'd rather have the downstairs because it had its own bathroom.
Yeah, and I think Mia is also trying to pick her own pick her
Pick
battles.
her
Where
battles.
I think
Yeah.
she's
I
not gonna
if I had my
uh,
own bathroom and I was downstairs by myself, I'd be like, you know what, y'all go ahead and have it
you
because
know
I'll
what?
be
Mhm.
Like with
downstairs.
me, I was kind of thinking the same thing. Like I probably would have chosen the room downstairs on my
Hmm.
own, but to
I
know
can't
y'all are
imagine
gonna
all of
force
them
me out,
sharing a bathroom. Nah, I'm good. And after hearing what happened with Giselle in the labor room, nah, I'm good.
you
I
remember she
want my
walked
own
around the
bathroom.
room pooping.
Oh
But
goodness.
you know what? As I was watching this episode, I started thinking a little bit more than about the episode. I hate that there's like this double standard when it comes to Chris. Because if you notice, nobody has attacked Candace about Chris. But if Chris had been a black guy and Candace had married him and he had these kids with these baby mamas, Chris is not working. So who's paying that child support? They would be eating her up. And it's just, I just find it odd that nobody has said anything about this. And I'm like, is it because he's white? Y'all are accepting this? Because if that had been Tyrone, oh, y'all would have been cutting up and talking trash. Mad trash.
Well,
I
yeah, well,
personally,
the stigma wouldn't be that he's not paying his child support. The stigma is always that black men don't pay their child support. So I guess that's why it's not floating around there. Um,
but I mean, if he doesn't have a job, how is it getting paid? Either it's not getting paid or Candace is paying it, right?
well, Candace pays him because he's her manager. So he does have a job in that sense. And as far as I can tell, her mom is probably really into her expenses like that. I don't see her allowing her to pay his child support, in all honesty.
So then we can only assume that he probably isn't paying it.
Or he may not be on it. He might have a relationship with the moms
But
that they have a they're cool with whatever situation or arrangement they have because they
now,
haven't come out and said he's not paying or he's a
well, I know
deadbeat
at
or
one
this, that, and
point
the other.
he was behind, and then supposedly one of his family members like helped get him caught up, yeah, helped get him caught back up. But I get it because there's a lot of women out here who have children who their children's father is not on child support. But even if you're not on child support, you need to be financially taking care of these children. Now, I don't know what he's
Mhm.
doing, but I find it a little fishy.
Well, and then to piggyback off of that, his two kids are living with him during the pandemic. Is that not considered? I
Oh
mean,
no, it all depends upon the arrangement he has with the moms. But he
yeah,
actually
because
has
I
three
mean, I couldn't
kids.
imagine if my kid's father had them during the pandemic. I wouldn't make him pay child support, but I sure as hope he wouldn't be having me pay his. But you know what I'm saying? Like at the end of the day, we just don't know their agreement. Why the other lady came out with whatever, I don't know, because I never really followed them outside of the show like this until I started
Mhm.
doing this with you. So I really don't know the background with that. But
Yeah.
I
Now to let you know, he has three kids, two different baby mamas.
so obviously the one baby mama allowed him to have two kids stay with him. So the one that he has two kids with, they must have a better relationship than the one he has one with.
Probably.
Yeah, because I mean, I think Candace said they had been living there for what 3 months.
I don't remember if she gave a time
I
or
think she said they had been living there for a while, so I wouldn't think he would have to pay child support with him having them full
Mhm.
time like that.
so I don't know. But I just find it interesting that nobody has attacked that situation yet, or questioned it, or said anything about it yet. Um,
And how old is the other kid? Do we know?
no, I don't know. I don't know the ages of those kids. Yeah, but I just that just came across as a thought. I was like, wait a minute. Nobody's attacking this situation, and this is a prime one to be questioning and trying to figure out what's going on. But let's go. I guess we'll jump back to the trip. So they're all sitting there and they're all eating. They're all kind of quiet. Surprisingly, they were pretty quiet at dinner. And then all of a sudden, Giselle says, "Okay, does anybody want to offer up an apology?" Karen in her true fashion. I love Karen's comebacks. So Karen keeps eating her food. And what's her name? Elephant. She's like, is there an apology owed here? Finally, she wasn't being messy. And so Karen, I mean, Giselle says, I can't remember what she says, and then Karen is still eating her food, and she's like, "Oh." Are you talking to me? I loved it. I was like, girl, you were so unbothered by your food, you didn't realize she was talking to you. I love it. Yeah, and so they start having their conversations going back and forth. Um, so Karen, I'm sorry, Giselle says that she owes her an apology for talking about her family.
Right.
Okay, so I'm gonna come back to that point. And then Karen says she needs an apology from Giselle for basically threatening death upon Ray. Okay, so both of them were stretching real hard. So with Karen was stretching. That was an absolute stretch. Giselle was not wishing death upon your husband. And you
Hmm.
know that.
And you're
But you
talking
know,
about something 4 years ago. You're not even talking about last year. You're talking about
yeah,
four
it was
years
it was
ago.
a stretch, right? It was a stretch. And then I'm gonna go back to Giselle, and Giselle's like, "Well, you were talking about my family." No, she wasn't. She was talking about Jamal. And what she said was she asked you a question of, "Did Jamal have a baby during this relationship y'all had?" I don't see why she needed to apologize for that. And she also asked you, "Is Jamal coming?" She asked you, "Was he coming?" And she owes you an apology for that. Like I think that both of you two, both of them were stretching, and they're both too old to be acting this silly. Do I think Karen owes Giselle an apology? No. Do I think Giselle owes Karen an apology? No. Man, yeah, not
So if
one.
anything, either nobody apologizes or both apologize. Simple as that. They both wrong for their comments, and then they both, or just move on.
Just move
Yeah.
But
on. Neither one of them are going to bow down and apologize. This,
yeah,
whatever this rift is or how it started, I haven't gotten there yet, but it's definitely deeper than a comment made 4 years ago. And
And
I,
I don't get how her asking, "Is Jamal coming?" That was talking about your family. She didn't say anything about your family. She said something about your man who has already been drug you. And then even after all this came out, he still didn't come out and defend you.
well, this isn't so much about what she said in the reunion. This is all about the tweets that happened while they were out of season because they kept popping up the tweets that Karen kept throwing out there about Giselle and Jamal. And I think that's where she's talking. I don't think she's referencing the reunion. I think she's more so referencing the constant back and forth that she kept putting out there
Well,
after the fact.
this is my thing. If that's what you're talking about, how about you say, "I'm mad about this tweet that you said here," instead of doing this vague thing, "Oh, you were talking about my family." Tell us what she said.
Well,
Then
they
maybe we can
did. They were
understand.
popping up the tweets. They were popping them
mhm,
up as she was saying
Yeah,
that.
they
I
did
couldn't
pop
read
it
them
up,
fast
but
enough,
yeah.
like
but
that's not
I
what.
think that's what she's talking about. She's talking
But
about
see,
all the stuff
yeah,
you keep putting out there about my family.
yeah.
Like you just
Like
didn't
I
leave it
saw the
alone at the reunion. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw the tweets, but that's not what she said. And I could have understood it if she had said, "You know what, you've been tweeting and you said this and that about my family." That I could understand, but that's not what she said. So I'm like, you can't expect anybody to apologize or be on your side when you're not saying what it is that you're truly upset about. Say that, because what she came out with, I was like, okay, now you stretching too.
Yeah,
You
because
got to
I was
actually
I
say
was
that.
sitting there kind of like, what did she say about her family? And then I couldn't read the tweets fast enough and I didn't pause. But I guess we'd have to find the tweet chain of all the stuff Karen
No,
said about her family.
okay, this is me. I'm not going to look for that tweet chain. If Giselle wants to be mad and she wants to put it on the show, she needs to say what she's mad about.
Yeah, because
Otherwise,
it
I'm not
they
going to
she
do
said
that.
the two
I don't know.
tweets. I
Yeah,
don't know
but
how
that's
many
just my,
times they're going to bring up the tweets, but I
yeah.
don't think it has anything to do with the reunion from last year.
I mean, then she needs to say that. That's my only thing. Like, if you're telling me, Reese says she's mad at Johnny, I shouldn't have to go figure out why you're mad at Johnny. If you're gonna come to me talking about that, then tell me what it is. Like, I'm not gonna go and dig up nothing.
Well, I think between me and Reese, though, if she knows that she's been putting out all these tweets, then she should know
Mhm,
what I'm talking about. I
mhm.
think what they're trying to do is handle it between themselves, so to
No, they're
speak,
not.
quote unquote,
They're handling it
in
on
front of
camera
people. But
and
I
in
think
front
what
of a table
she's
of people.
yeah, but I still think what she's trying to say is you know what you've said. You know what you've said, just like you know what you say and you know what you say. So I want you to apologize what you've been saying.
Yeah.
Like,
So that's where my thing is. So if this is the type of conversation you want to have, you need to pull her to the side so that you can both sit there and like, okay, I know what you said. You know what I said. This is where I'm at. I want an apology because otherwise you
Mhm.
just sitting here looking silly. Like, well, tell us what it is that she did that she needs to apologize for. Because right now you're not saying it, and
Yeah.
I can't say that she's wrong for whatever it is you're feeling if you're not seeing what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So that was the episode, and they showed us a clip of next week. Well, yeah, it was a clip. It was a good clip.
Yeah,
So
because I was
Ash,
so annoyed it ended right there in the middle of the fight, as
Yeah,
usual.
yeah,
yeah, like
yeah,
the other episode.
right,
And probably next episode is gonna the fight's gonna last all of 10 seconds, and they'll be doing
Yeah,
something else. And you're like,
right,
really? That's what we waited
yeah.
all week for?
right.
Maybe on to the next party.
Right. So Yolanda said Giselle trying to force an apology out of Karen. If you have to force anybody to say or do something, it is most likely not going to be genuine. Right. It's not going to be
I
genuine.
don't think she cares that it's genuine. I think she just wants her to say I'm sorry. I don't think she cares
I
for
believe, yeah,
I
I
don't
don't think she truly wants the apology. I think she wants the apology publicly so that then it could be like, see, Karen didn't know what she was doing. Karen was lying.
yeah. That's
So
why I
that's where I
don't
think it's
believe
coming from.
yeah, I don't think it's
Yeah.
I don't care. I don't think she wants a genuine apology. Because if you
No.
wanted a genuine apology, you do it like you said in private. I'd go to you
Right.
and say, "Hey, I don't want this on camera or they're hearing me talk, but you know what you said on social media and I need you to apologize for that because you were causing my daughters. They can
Mhm.
read that. They see what you're saying about their father and our family and I
No
don't
way.
feel
I
like this
hate.
is cool."
Okay, but I'm not saying you're doing this, but I hate when people start with the whole children thing. Well, my children could have seen that. So didn't your children? Can't your children see that your husband drug you and dogged you out? Can't your children see the women who did interviews saying that they're still sleeping with your ex-husband while you were working things out? I hate when people bring in their children with stuff that I'm like, you know what? They could have found it out other ways.
Well,
That just
yeah,
annoys
I think I because again, like I told you guys, I've been watching the first season because you know me, it really drives me crazy that I don't know. I like to
yeah.
know. So even in the beginning of the first season, his daughters had respect for him and they did like spending time with their father. They did go and visit him on weekends and da 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 da. And that was 8 years after the divorce. So
Yeah.
some things happened between then and now because even when she started dating him again, they were very hesitant and they didn't want anything to do with it. So I don't know if Giselle did that to her daughters and sat there and told them way too much, or if they, like you said, found out through other means what their father actually did. Because obviously, when they divorced, I think the twins were like 4. You know what I'm saying? Or six,
Mhm.
4 and 6. Like the daughter was 6 and they were 4. They were young, so it's not like they really got to see or hear or know what he did during that time. But yeah, I just truly, honestly feel like like I said, I don't think it's so much that she really cares about the genuineness of the apology. I think she just wants to be like, see, I told y'all she's wrong. She apologized. I don't
Yeah,
think she
that's
cares
exactly
about
what I
how
think she's
genuine
telling
it
you too.
is.
Yeah, and I think she's just reaching for straws with anything. Like I said, I hate when people start bringing in their kids. Well, my kid could have said, "Wait, what about when you was running around naked? When you was doing this and that on TV? You weren't worried about your kids then."
No.
I
Yeah.
just hate when women try to do that. I'm just like, ugh. So she said Giselle didn't ask Monique for an apology, and she threw a lot of stuff up at the reunion with that binder. She did. She
Yeah.
did.
I don't think
She
she
did.
asked Monique for an apology because she ain't on TV no more and they weren't friends anyway.
None of them are friends.
No, no,
None of
no.
them are friends.
It's crazy. Like, this just isn't what friends do. And then, of course, they're supposed to be debutantes and have this air about them that it's not. I don't know. I kind of wish you could see a better. You know, I
Yeah,
wish. I wish a group of black women could get together and just be cool. I know you have to have
Mhm.
drama, but I don't
yeah,
think this kind of drama is what's needed. Tearing each other down and tearing each
right.
other's
Mhm.
families down.
I
It's
want
just
to see a
not needed.
sprinkling. Yeah,
Mhm.
I mean, I'm not even upset about the drama. I just want to see a sprinkling of it, and I want it to be something real and just not all this pulling stuff out of the air kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
You know,
I want to
it's
create my travel bucket list and invite Yolanda on our girls' trip when we go to wherever. I want to see how to do that kind of stuff. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
yeah,
Like, I don't want all this extra and fighting back and forth. Could you imagine
yes,
living that kind of life where me
I
and you are
can't.
fighting constantly, or me and Reese are fighting and dragging you into it? Like, I
Yeah.
just couldn't imagine.
Yeah, I can. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's really hard to imagine. And then also, like for me, I know I keep dwelling on age, but once you feel like once you get older, certain things aren't going to be an issue in your life. You know, I
Mhm.
can't imagine I'm 60 and here me and Reese are arguing out at a restaurant. You know, like I'm hoping
Yeah.
that we would be better than that. You
Yeah.
know,
Or me
I would
being
hope.
60 and tweeting something stupid. Like,
yeah,
who has the time to do that?
Yeah,
Why
I
do you
would.
even have time to do that? And why are you at 50 sitting there reading the tweets and getting mad at them?
Yeah.
Don't
yeah,
you have
And
more going
then
on in your life?
I feel like
right,
too, like the whole they it's like different ones go to the other one and they just like just the messiness behind each other's back. Like you're never gonna get along if you can't stop doing that.
Yeah.
Because one way or another, something that you say is gonna come out and it's gonna be like, well, who said that? Oh, Reese said it. Who said that? Oh, Johnny said that. Oh,
Yeah.
Nene said that. You know what I'm saying? And that keeps drama going. But I don't
Well,
think they
that's
ever do.
why, that's why, to be honest, in personal life and everything, that's why I don't, anything I've said to you, I have
Mhm.
said to somebody else. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't want it to come out like I was talking about you or doing anything
Mhm.
like that. But I don't, you, it would be very rare that you would hear somebody say, oh, sorry, Johnny told me such and such. And you're sitting there like, for real? She said that? I've
Mhm.
never heard her say that. You've never, knowing me as a person, you would never
Mhm.
be able to say that about me. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? I just don't like that game. And I don't
Yeah.
like
right.
being confronted like that
Yeah.
anyway about
Oh
something
yeah.
I
I
said.
don't
You
either.
know?
Because once I get confronted, I gotta go with it. Like, yeah, I said it. So
Yeah.
at that point, it's like, okay, because I ain't gonna sit here and play the game of I ain't say that. Like, yeah.
Yeah. My whole thing, no, and that was funny because I had a situation one time when I cussed out a boss and told them to get the F out my office. And I called my boss and I said, this is what I said. Understand what happened, and
Yeah.
I'm not going to deal with it. So it is what it
Hmm.
is. You want to write me up, do what you do, but this is what I said. So she can't come back to you and say, I said blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Nope, this is what I said. And yes, this is what I said. I did tell her this. It was not nice.
Hmm.
Yeah, look, and you didn't wait 4 years to bring it
No,
up. You
it's
went
right
and
there.
did it right.
Yeah, exactly. No, I went. As soon as she walked out my office, when I told her to get the F out, I called my boss.
Hmm. Yep. She ain't got
Time to
time to
sit
go
there and
change the
make it,
story.
I go to him first. You know what I'm saying? Like, you ain't
Hmm.
gonna sit here and let it stew and turn it into something it's not. He ain't gonna sit here and watch you cry coming out my office. Nah, we finna handle this right
Absolutely. I
now. But
totally
yeah,
understand. Totally
that's who
get it.
I've always been. I've
Yeah.
never
So,
really understood that
yeah.
narrative,
So
that he
I'm
said, she
looking,
said stuff.
yeah. So I'm looking forward to next week's episode. Um, they gave us a good clip. I'm hoping it doesn't end up feeling like a filler episode.
Yeah.
Sometimes they give you stuff, but it's just like, oh, you're just trying to fill in or
Yeah,
whatever.
you're waiting until
And
two episodes to complete what you just did.
and y'all all know my one pet peeve about Ashley is always her collecting the bones and bringing them. And I'm
And
like,
the bat
no,
and I have to say, the one thing that irritated me about this one is
mm,
because normally Ashley doesn't say, you know how, like you said, she was very uncomfortable with what Giselle was telling her. Normally,
mm,
Ashley just, she just takes it in and then she goes and sprinkles it. But she even told Giselle, I think it's better if it comes from you. Like, she told her that. And so for her to go and then go and sprinkle it, I was like, that's so wrong. Because you even told
yeah,
her you were going to wait
Hmm.
for Giselle, or, let Giselle handle it whenever she
Hmm.
saw fit to talk to Wendy about it.
right. And then it was crazy because when she made that statement, I was thinking in my head, no, Giselle probably isn't the best one to tell her. I think And this was what I was feeling at the moment. I was like, I think Candace needs to tell her because Candace is her friend. That's what I was thinking. But according to this trip, I guess they've fallen out. They've had something going on. And
You're
I'm
right. You know what? That's right. Because she did bring her on last year. They were cool. That is interesting what happened between Candace and Wendy. Hmm.
yeah.
I think it's the whole what's her face thing.
Oh, Monique thing.
Monique thing.
Yeah,
Well,
see,
not so much
Wendy.
with Monique, but with Karen.
Oh, that now she's friends with Karen, and so now she
Yeah,
has a
I
point of
think it
view.
has something to do with that because you saw what I went through, and how can you go and befriend her? You know what I'm saying?
Oh gosh.
I
I'm
know,
sorry.
but I'm just saying
No,
that's
I
maybe
totally
her
get what you're
mentality.
saying. Yeah, I totally get what you're saying. But that's probably it, you know. But I don't know. But at the same time, Wendy did have her back.
She did. That's why it's so weird
Um,
that she's all up Karen now. That is kind of weird. I ain't even gonna lie. As much as her and
it
Karen
is.
couldn't
It's
even
weird.
stand each other last season, they did not
Yeah,
like each other.
yeah. Because Karen wouldn't even acknowledge that she had met Wendy before. Do you remember that?
She did.
She,
She's like, I don't
I
know
was like,
her.
yeah.
So
So yeah, that was funny. It was very, very funny. Absolutely. Oh, okay. So we got. I'm over here missing comments. Um, Giselle need to worry about why she driving a Range Rover to a barn, her house, and an unfinished barn at that, with that wretched West Wing on the side of it. You know something? I was thinking. You know, Giselle and Robin both drive Range Rovers. They say allegedly Robin owes like 90 something thousand dollars in tax debt. Why not sell your Range Rover? You know you'll at least be able to get 90,000 for it and pay off your tax debts. I don't understand.
it's
Wait,
called a payment plan.
well, I mean, instead of just getting yourself into further debt, because when they come knocking on their door, the tax is going to be the first one trying to take your money.
Yeah, I think she said that they had already worked out a payment plan. So, to my knowledge,
Like,
she should be paying her
yeah.
owed taxes.
All right. And Yolanda says next week episode seems interesting. It
It
does. And
does. We
so
hope we'll
I
see you
can't
next
wait.
week, Yolanda.
Yes, Yolanda, definitely come back and let me know what you're thinking and what your thoughts were on that episode. And if you see them creeping and I missed it on screen,
No,
let
she
me know.
didn't.
So I don't know. Oh, and then did you guys see? I don't know why I got so excited about this, but did y'all see when Michael was asking Ashley about Juan? And
Yes, I thought about you. He was like, he was kind of getting nervous. Is he off the market?
he's like, did she miss
He
I didn't even
something?
think
did.
about it like
Coming
that.
down the aisle? Did she
I
He
didn't even think
did.
about it like that. Y'all a
He
mess.
did. And
like
again, that's
crazy?
what's so weird. Like
Mhm.
watching the
Really?
first episodes, and seeing him and Ashley together, you would never think he went that way. They were very lovey, touchy, PDA people.
Oh
I
Yeah.
yeah,
mean,
because she was over there letting Michael freak her out the box.
girl, I was sitting there like, oh. So it really is weird how he became this weird, creepy old man who likes
Yeah.
men too, and we'll see what happens. So
Yeah, we absolutely will see. So that was the episode. I think I covered everything pretty much. Was there any areas that you guys wanted to touch on? Michael is a mess. Mr. Robin don't play about Juan. Okay, Mr. Rob him. Rob him, Yolanda.
stop, Mr. Robin. You forgot the S.
No, it's Robin him.
That's funny.
Absolutely. All right, we enjoyed having you, Yolanda, as always. They say, you're always invited to come along and join us. But I understand if you don't want to, or if you want to hide your face, next episode, come on up with us so we can discuss this and all these shenanigans going on. All right. Well, thank you for sticking around and for watching, and thank you for commenting. And until next time, we'll see you on Saturday morning. We'll see you for Love After Lockup. Bye.
Bye, y'all. Bye, Yolanda.